Picture this: a lavish banquet hall, sparkling chandeliers hanging from the ceiling like jewels, golden plates piled high with food, and laughter echoing off the walls. King Henry, young and brimming with confidence, lounges on his ornate throne, surrounded by advisors who are practically tripping over themselves to cater to his every whim. You'd think he'd be the happiest king in all the lands, right? But no, there's a familiar sigh escaping his lips, and he's yawning like a cat that's had one too many naps. Another banquet, another night of feasting and frivolity, he mutters, rolling his eyes like a teenager who's just been told to clean his room. What's the point? Gold and jewels, they don't fill the void in my heart. His advisor, a nervous little fellow with a quill perpetually stuck in his hair, perks up at the mention of a guest from afar. Your Majesty, perhaps we could invite someone from a distant land? A queen, perhaps? Suddenly, Henry's eyes light up like a kid in a candy store. A queen? Now that's a thought. Someone completely different from our gilded halls. That could be interesting. Meanwhile, in the lush kingdom of Kabila, Queen Zola is sitting beneath a giant baobab tree, surrounded by her people. The sun filters through the leaves, casting playful shadows on her face. She's wise, strong, and deeply connected to her subjects, but there's a flicker of adventure in her eyes. A messenger bursts onto the scene, breathless and wide-eyed. Your Majesty, a letter from King Henry of Albion. He invites you to his grand palace for a banquet in your honor. Zola raises an eyebrow, intrigued. Albion? A land of wealth and extravagance? Why would a king of such riches care to know me? Her advisor, Nana. Oi, ni. An elderly woman with wisdom etched into her very being, steps forward. Perhaps, my queen, it's not the gold in your crown, but the wisdom in your heart that he seeks. Zola smiles, the corners of her lips lifting with a sense of purpose. Then let us journey to Albion. There's always something to learn from those who appear so different from us. Fast forward to the Grand Palace of Albion, where Henry awaits Zola's arrival with a smirk plastered across his face, ready to impress. When she steps through the grand doors, dressed in vibrant colors that seem to dance with her every movement, he's momentarily taken aback. Ah, Queen Zola! Welcome to Albion, where everything you see is built on wealth and power, he announces, puffing out his chest like a peacock. But Zola, calm and confident, simply replies, Power is not measured by gold alone, King Henry. Where I come from, it's the heart that makes one truly rich. Henry's smirk falters for a moment, but he quickly recovers, laughing it off. Well, that's charming. But here in Albion, we rely on our riches. As the two walk through the palace, Henry boasts about his wealth, and Zola recounts tales of bravery and resilience from her kingdom. The banquet begins, and while Henry tries to impress her with stories of his conquests, Zola captivates the room with a tale of a young warrior who saved her village from a wildfire. Riches can burn away in an instant, she declares passionately. It is the courage, the wisdom, and the love of the people that make a kingdom strong. Henry rolls his eyes, but he can't help but feel a spark of curiosity. Later that night, as the moonlight bathes the garden in a silver glow, he finds Zola gazing at the stars. Do you really believe that love can be stronger than power? He asks, his voice softer than before. Zola looks at him, her eyes twinkling like the stars above. Power without love is empty. The people of Kabila follow me not because of fear, but because they know I care for them. And I believe deep down you long for that too, Henry. A moment of silence hangs between them, and Henry begins to understand. The next day, disaster strikes. A neighboring kingdom is suffering from a terrible drought. Henry's faced with a dilemma: to help or to hoard his resources. If I give away my water and food, my kingdom could suffer, he frets, pacing like a caged lion. True strength is in helping others, even when it feels like a risk, Zola advises, her voice steady. Let me show you what it means to rule with the heart. And so, they embark on a journey together, bringing aid to the drought-stricken kingdom. As they distribute supplies, Henry witnesses the joy and relief on the faces of the people. For the first time, he feels the warmth of their gratitude, and it ignites something within him. That night, as they sit by the fire, a new bond forms. "Zola, you've opened my eyes. I see now that my kingdom may be rich, but without the love of my people, it's hollow," he admits, his voice tinged with vulnerability. Zola smiles, her laughter ringing like music. "And I've learned from you, Henry, there is beauty in building something grand, as long as it's done for the right reasons." Their hands touch, and in that moment, the barriers between their worlds begin to dissolve. Back in Albion, the news of their aid mission spreads like wildfire, and the people begin to cheer for their king, not out of obligation, but out of love. Standing on the balcony of the palace, Henry addresses the crowd, his voice booming with newfound conviction. "My people, we are entering a new era, an era of strength through unity, through love." The crowd erupts into cheers, and Zola beams at him, her heart swelling with pride. "Together we'll rule, with heart and wisdom," she whispers, and the sun sets behind them, casting a golden glow over the united kingdoms of Albion and Kabbalah. And so the story unfolds, a tale of two rulers from distant lands, proving that love knows no boundaries and that true richness lies not in gold, but in the bonds we forge with one another.